You did run on a platform. You were very straightforward. You said you would pardon these people that were sentenced for January 6th.
No, totally.
You did. The only criticism or pushback I've seen is about people that were convicted or were involved in incidents where they were violent with police. Why did they get a pardon?
Fox News anchor Sean Hannity had a lengthy sit-down interview with Donald Trump and asked the question that I'm sure many are wondering: why exactly did he think it was a good idea to do sweeping pardons of the January 6th rioters, namely the individuals who carried out acts of violence against the police officers on that day? And Trump basically, I mean, look, the guy doesn't hold back, right? He just says what he actually thinks. And in this case, he admitted that he didn't really care enough to go through the case by case review of individuals who were seeking to be pardoned. Let's take a look.
Number one, they were in there for 3.5 years, a long time.
Right.
And in many solitary confinement, treated like nobody's ever been treated so badly. They were treated like the worst criminals in history. And you know what they were there for? They were protesting the vote because they knew the election was rigged and they were protesting the vote. And that you should be allowed to protest a vote. You should be allowed to. You know, when the day comes,
you shouldn't be able to invade the Capitol.
No, ready? Most of the people were absolutely innocent. Okay, but forgetting all about that, these people have served horribly a long time. It would be very, very cumbersome to go and look. You know how many people we're talking about? 1,500 people. Almost all of them should not have been, this should not have happened. And the other thing is this, some of those people with the police, true, but they were very minor incidents, okay? You know, they get built up by that a couple of fake guys that are on CNN all the time.
Nobody watches.
They were very minor incidents, and it was time. You have murderers in Philadelphia. You have murderers in Los Angeles that don't even get any time.
And those murderers in Los Angeles and Philly should 100% get time behind bars if they're convicted of murdering people. But, you know, look, I think it's important to differentiate people who were convicted of lesser charges, let's say stuff like trespassing, from the individuals who absolutely did carry out acts of violence and it was caught on camera. In fact, let me just quickly detail one of those individuals, one of those rioters. So his name is Matthew Kroll, and we're about to watch a video. Let's keep our mics up while I explain what you're seeing on the screen. This is a perfect example of someone who I don't think should have been pardoned. He's the individual wearing the red hoodie. He stole a baton from a police officer. You can see him holding it there and hitting someone over the head with it. And then the person he's hitting over the head is a police officer. He proceeds to assault cops with the baton he snatched away from a cop. So listen, if you're going to put everyone in the same bucket and pretend as if they were all, dealing with heavy-handed, prosecution, when all they did was mosey on into the Capitol building after the initial storming of the Capitol happened, it's just a total mischaracterization of some of these charges, of some of these individuals. Now, how many of these individuals carried out acts of violence? I don't know the exact number. What I do know is those people, unfortunately, were included in the sweeping pardons that Donald Trump did. And the reason why he's getting backlash is because people don't want to let individuals who assault cops off easy. And they feel that in this case, Donald Trump did.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get to the substance of this in a second. First of all, they need higher chairs at the White House. So you'll go back and look at that clip of the interview and go, why are the chairs so short? Anyways, number two, oh, you see it? They look like they're kindergartners. Anyway, the tiniest point in history. So Hannity starts with, the only pushback I've seen is of you releasing the violent criminals. I'm pretty sure I've seen other pushback of releasing all of the January 6th guys, but I get it. He's saying it from a right-wing perspective. Trump says, oh, there's just a couple of fake guys on CNN. Those are actually real police officers who were assaulted, and one of them had a heart attack afterwards. There's absolutely nothing fake about them. That's the usual Trump nonsense. But now we get to the substance of it. First, that whether it's an excuse or real, that was an amazing statement when he's like, I mean, looking through the whole case files would have been cumbersome. What does that mean? I was too lazy to figure out which one shoplifted and which one murdered, so cumbersome. I just let them all go. Okay, so in this case, obviously, shoplifting and murder are examples that not what actually happened. So, but it might just be an excuse for, I really wanted to let him go. That's why I let him go, and I'll pretend that I'm just lazy. Although he really is lazy, so it might be real. Anyways, so why would he want to let him go? Well, look, you know the obvious answers, but I'm talking about just the violent criminals, the one that attacked the cops. Does he actually believe all the things he's said about the cops? Blue lives matter, got to protect the police, etc. No, he doesn't care about the police. He doesn't care about anybody, right? Though there's one guy he cares about, Donald J. Trump. So these guys went to war for him, and they committed violence for who? For Trump, of course. Look, unless you're like total MAGA cult, and you think all those people did that violence for Nancy Pelosi or Antifa or tourism, they obviously did it for Trump. So Trump's going, hey, thanks a lot, guys. Not just for past services of willing to say, hang Mike Pence and attack cops and do anything for Donald Trump. But if you think about it, also potentially for future reasons. Hey, if I need you guys to attack someone else again, number one, you're free to go, so you can do that. And number two, remember, if you do it, I'm just gonna let you out of prison anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's lazy. That story came out yesterday. You weren't on the show, but I covered it, and I totally believe it. You really think that Donald Trump is gonna sit down and carefully, personally review 1,500 separate cases?
No, but
yeah,
Anna,
and
look, so is he lazy? I've said it 8 times already in this story, and that's part of the reason, but I don't think that's the main reason. And second of all, the president doesn't have to personally do that. You just assign some guy at the White House, you'll have your answer for which cases to sift through in a matter of hours, right? So, I mean, so that's no excuse.
So you think he's building an army of violent offenders who are going to create all sorts of havoc and fight on his behalf? Like that's what this is about?
Well, Anna, he already did during the debate with Biden in 2020. He said, "Proud Boys stand by," and they did stand by. And then they did attack the Capitol. And after they did assault the cops, and they did chant "Hang Mike Pence" and talked about murdering his vice president, he thought it was a really, really good job. That's why he just freed them. So do I know that he has a plan to use them in the future? No, of course not. Of course I don't know that. And I hope that he has no occasion to do that. I hope that he realizes that he has to leave office after this time around. But last time he didn't realize it, and he did use them. So yes, he has an excellent track record of using vigilante thugs just like these guys to commit violence.
So one of the people that he has pardoned has already been rearrested. And so let's talk a little bit about who this person is and what he was arrested for. So his name is Daniel Ball, and he actually committed an act of violence on January 6th. He threw an explosive device that detonated on 25 police officers. So the explosion allegedly disoriented officers and caused hearing loss, which for some of the officers lasted months. Defendant also allegedly threw a large piece of wood into the line of officers protecting the Capitol. So I just want to repeat again, people like this should not have been pardoned, especially when there's no indication that they were at all remorseful for what they did. But the FBI said that it was unable to determine whether the device was commercially manufactured or homemade. In May of 2023, Ball was charged with 12 counts. He's being held or was being held in pretrial detention when he got pardoned, but was arrested a second time for federal gun charges, which, based on the commentary I heard in regard to Hunter Biden, is very serious. We need to take a federal gun charge very, very seriously. There should be no plea deal. There should be absolutely no deal offered to this guy. Anyway, it's been, so specifically he's accused of possessing a firearm as a convicted felon. And that was discovered as part of the search warrant from Ball's Capitol riot charges. The arrest warrant for those gun charges was never actually issued until the pardon. And Ball did not even leave prison between getting pardoned and then getting rearrested because of the federal gun charge. So in other words, he was in possession of a firearm when he was already a convicted criminal. And this was prior to the Capitol riot. So as soon as he got pardoned, that illegal gun charge is what allowed authorities to rearrest him. He also has 2 previous convictions for domestic violence battery by strangulation and battering and resisting law enforcement with violence, hence why he is unable to possess a firearm.
So he was up on a gun charge, so I assume that Trump and Biden competed over who would pardon him first. So they both have done crazy pardons. So look, I'll give you one piece of nuance here. And none of these pardons are blanket pardons. They're only for January 6th. That doesn't make them any better. I'm just telling you, vis-a-vis the Biden pardons, which were blanket pardons for any crime committed over about a 10, 11 year stretch. And they don't get to commit crimes in the future unless Trump's in office, in which case he will again pardon them. But that's your context. Dirge, one of our members on tyt.com, made a really good point. He said, Trump, January 6ers served a long time. Also Trump, the Central Park Five should not be released even after exoneration and having served much longer. Yeah, gee, I wonder if it's because these guys were, first of all, the Central Park Five were totally and utterly innocent. I know they were Black and Latino, but nevertheless, they were innocent. So Trump went after those guys for no goddamn reason, even though they were innocent. And didn't think they should be released, even when it was proven. And in this case, he's like, violence against cops, I'd love it as long as you did it for me and we're looking to murder my vice president. So I give Trump no quarter on this issue. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.